Hi, I am Jaclyn Steele, and welcome to Self-Discovery. Howard Thurman so beautifully wrote, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." Coming alive. That, my friends, is what self-discovery is all about.
Wear that mask for.
Hello, beautiful listeners, and welcome to today's episode of Self-Discovery. I am feeling very excited to share this information with you because I feel like it's divine timing, and chances are if I have been struggling with this, then you have too. And if I have been thinking about this, then you have too. And this wasn't the content that I had planned for today. I was actually going to do a podcast episode on the Akashic Records and soul readings and getting in touch with who we are on a soul level. And the content that I want to speak about today relates to that, but it's about creating space for New Year intention setting, infused with self-worth. And this is a radically different approach from how I feel like our society teaches us to set goals, to set intentions. Our society so often is pressuring us to be successful and to be an archetype of a person that we may or may not on a soul level really want to embody. And so while today isn't about actually writing out the intentions and setting your intentions, which I am going to do an episode on that later this month, today is about creating the space and the surrounding for you to set soul-aligned intentions. Intentions that feel life-affirming, not life-sucking. Intentions that you cannot wait to wake up and embody versus feeling like you're behind or you need to be doing more or you're always lacking in some area and so you need to improve upon those weaknesses. This is not about honing in on lack. This is about honing in on abundance. And so that is what today's episode is about. And I feel so excited to share this information with you because I feel like it's so valuable to me specifically. And so if something is of value to me, I always feel the urge to share it with you, my beautiful, beautiful listener. Before we begin, a couple house matters to take care of. And that is, if you have not joined Sacred Rebel Affirmations, which is my text community, I highly recommend that you do. There is some magic happening in this community, and the feedback that I am getting from these text messages that are sent out a couple of weeks that are just, my intention is to provide such nourishment for your soul and for your day. And again, the feedback I'm getting is so positive. And what I have planned for next year, and this is all part of my personal intention setting, is getting even more specific with these text messages. Right now, they have been meant to be inspiring, meant to infuse your day with a little like healthy caffeine boost of self-love and encouragement. And next year, they're going to be even more specific. There's going to be more magic. There's just going to be, I have a feeling, so much alignment happening. So if you want to be part of that, they are free right now. You can text me at 480-531-6858. Again, that's 480-531-6858. It's also in the show notes. And once you opt in, type in SACRED, SACRED, and you will automatically be part of that list. And again, it is a community of about 26 people right now. It's not a situation in which you're going to be getting all these pingbacks. It only goes to you and we have a private conversation, but there's something really beautiful and sacred about it. And I would love for you to be a part of it. Second thing I want to touch on is The Scoop, which is my newsletter. I've also been getting really positive feedback about this. It is such a fun newsletter. It is full of self-worth and inspiration and cool books and cool conscious products. And I would love for you to also be a part of that. If you're not, you can sign up in the show notes. Would love to have you. Again, my plan for 2022 is to dive even deeper into that and make it even more of a pillar of what I am doing than it already is. So if you want to be in on the front end, sign up for The Scoop. You can do that on my website or in the show notes. Third thing before I dive into the contents of this episode is that I'm doing a huge giveaway, you guys, and only a couple of people have signed up. So I don't know if I just need to market it more or what, but it is the easiest entry ever to get some of the most beautiful products that I have curated over the last year. All you have to do to enter to win one of these 3 prize boxes sent directly from me to you is leave me a review and take a screenshot of it and send it to hello@jaclynsteele.com. I'll have all the directions in the show notes for that as well. But the products that I am sending out are things that I love so much and use on a daily basis. So Living Libations oil, a couple Parker clay products, incense, essential oils, and what else is in there? Essentially a curated box of things that just feel sacred and infuse self-worth into your day. So if you want to win one of those boxes, all you have to do is leave me a review, screenshot it, and send it to hello@jaclynsteele. You can also get some bonus entries. All the details of that are in the show notes. Now I want to dive into today's episode because I'm so excited to share it with you. I'm so excited to share it with you. It just feels like I mentioned before, divine timing. If you are anything like me, then setting yourself up for the new year is something you really look forward to. However, I've noticed that the past couple of years, I've come up against some roadblocks when it comes to intention setting. And either I approach it with too much pressure, like I have to conquer the world in 1 year, or I come at it so ethereal and woo-woo that my intentions are not concrete enough to stick. And then I forget about them a couple weeks after I've said them. Can any of you relate to these two polar opposite approaches to intention setting? I'm sure you can. What I want to touch on today is a self-worth infused way of intention setting. And full transparency, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of intention setting in this episode because that's coming later this month. Or if you want to reference last year's intention setting episode, that's episode 52. Highly recommended. It's one of the most listened to episodes that we have. But instead of getting into the nitty-gritty of actually writing an intention, I want to do the prerequisite work. I want to talk about creating space for your intentions to arrive and align with you. This is a totally different approach than wrangling the things we think we want to do and writing them down. This is allowing our soul to speak up and say what it needs from us in the next year. I find that when I take the time to do this, and it does take more time, the way that I live on a daily basis is so infused with grace and love and hope and joy that it revolutionizes my life. When I go back to the old way of rushing and wrangling and wrestling things into what I feel like needs to be done in order for me to be successful or in order for me to be significant, it sucks the joy out of my life. And I don't want that for any of us, and I certainly don't want that for myself. We live in such a fast-paced society with so much pressure to be successful, to do, to make things happen, to create things that get recognition and put our names on the map, because we are taught that being significant to others will somehow make us feel significant to ourselves. I want to deconstruct this approach to intention setting, or goal setting, if you prefer to phrase it that way. It's not healthy, and it does not make for a life aligned with your soul. When we are looking outside of ourselves for significance in any way, shape, or form, it's not sustainable. It's not real. It's not the self-worth approach. You can make a goal of writing a book, and that's a great goal. But if your soul doesn't really want to write a book, and you're doing it because you feel like that's something cool to do or something somebody else said they're going to do, what good does that do for you? What kind of joy is that going to infuse into your life? It's going to put a lot of pressure on you for something you don't really want. You can make a goal for losing weight. But if your soul wants you to first find self-acceptance and experience self-love, then what good does that goal do? You could also make a goal of traveling to a far-off country in the next year. But if your soul is craving home and stability and being grounded, what good does that do? This self-worth infused way of intention setting is all about allowing your soul to speak and be heard. Otherwise, we, myself included, are so easily caught up in the latest and greatest wave intention setting, goal setting, whatever, for the most productive year yet, that we forget to check in with what it is our soul is craving, with what it is our soul is trying to tell us, teach us, infuse in us. My friends, my beautiful listeners, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are not merely flesh and bone born into being to be productivity machines. So, this is what I first want us to think about when it comes to setting intentions for 2022. This is the groundwork before the building of the ship. We have to make sure our foundation is level and set and nutrient dense before we birth something new into the world, if we decide we want to birth something new into the world at all. Sometimes, and I had a reading like this several years ago, winter or dormancy is exactly what we need. But we won't know that if we don't slow down enough and create enough space to check in and ask. This week's episode is supported by Natural Action Water Technology. My friends, not all water was created equally, and some water assimilates better in our bodies than other water. And because our bodies are comprised primarily of water, I'm so pumped to introduce you to Natural Action Water Technology, and specifically their portable unit. The portable unit is the easiest way to revitalize water at home and on the go. You can enjoy the benefits of an energy infusion of structured water when you're out and about, whether in town at a local restaurant or on the road traveling. Simply pour water through the top, the large end of the portable unit, and point the small spout into any container to get the benefits of structured water. In episodes 92 and 93 of Self-Discovery, we do an in-depth review of what structured water is and how important it is for our hydration. But essentially, structured water mimics the way water is found in nature after it tumbles down a stream. It changes the molecular structure and allows it to assimilate in our bodies better so that we stay hydrated longer and faster. It is absolutely incredible. My husband and I have been using it for about 5 months. I've noticed a big difference in my hydration, especially being pregnant. It's so important that I stay hydrated. I also use the structured water for our dogs, and I've noticed my dogs are drinking a lot more water, so they've noticed a difference. Again, episodes 92 and 93 go into depth on what structured water is, but I highly, highly, highly recommend this portable unit. You can find it at naturalaction.com. And if you use code Jaclyn-10, you will get 10% off your order. Again, you're going to go to naturalaction.com and use code Jaclyn, Jaclyn, -10 for 10% off your order. You will notice a huge difference in the way the water tastes and goes down, and a difference in your overall health. It is absolutely awesome. I love this unit. Cannot recommend it enough. Okay, now back to the episode. The last 2 episodes of Self-Discovery, I started by pulling an oracle card. And the reason I do this is because I'm drawn to it, A, and B, because I love the idea of co-creating with spirit. And it brings tears to my eyes when I think about it. I feel like God, spirit, however you want to label this incredible force of energy that is so much greater and wiser than ourselves, I believe that that energy is available to us all the time. And co-creating with that energy, I feel like elevates my frequency and my vibration exponentially. And I wanted to inject that into the podcast because I do it so often on my own. And just like in the last 2 episodes, the oracle card that I chose for today, or that really presented itself, I didn't choose it, is so spot on for the frequency of the content of this episode, which is creating space for intention setting, infused with self-worth. I pulled a card from the White Light Oracle deck. It's from Alana Fairchild. And the card that came up was number 6, Shekinah. And I want to read to you what this is about. It's a couple pages, but bear with me because I feel like collectively this is such an important message. So number 6, Shekinah. I will take pictures of the card and of the pages of this booklet and put them on Instagram on Wednesday with this episode if you want to dive deeper into this and see what it looks like too. It's such a gorgeous card. Okay, number 6, Shekinah. The spiritual worlds want to help you resolve your worldly concerns. It is safe for you to rely on spirit as a loving, protective, helpful, and practical presence able to positively affect all areas of your life, including facilitating the resolution of physical problems. How perfect is that for today's episode? Do not limit your spirituality to concepts. Instead, apply your higher knowledge and principles, grow your wisdom, and live your path. Acknowledge your value as a person, as a soul. Oh, that's self-worth, guys. Treasure the gift of your path and let your spirituality integrate with all facets of your life. That is what creating this space is about for your intention setting. It's about allowing that space for spirituality to integrate into your actual day-to-day life. I'm going to keep reading. Shekinah is a Hebrew word that translates as the dwelling place of the divine. Shekinah is the embodiment of the light. She is in us when we are living our spiritual path, applying our wisdom and principles so our actions, our courage, our choices awaken compassion in our world. We are the sacred change makers and healers of the collective. Y'all, I'm going to inject my own narration into this. You are a light worker. You are a healer. You are somebody capable of bringing compassion into the world and changing the very fabric of what we know as life, changing the people around you, changing yourself. You have that power. The divine electricity of spirit needs willing soul bulbs to shine forth in the world. In the esoteric Jewish tradition of Kabbalah, Shekinah is the sacred feminine, the capacity for and experience of spirit entering the soul of a human being. When a soul is approaching the sacred experience of Shekinah, the ego has given way to some degree. There is enough inner space and heart willingness to surrender and receive so that spirit can infuse the soul. The soul becomes more luminous with white light. We resonate more with spirit than with ego. We feel like our true selves. And listeners, again, how perfect is this for today's episode? Creating intentions with more spirit than ego. Feeling like our true selves as we write what we want for ourselves in the next year. When the soul becomes Shekinah, a holy dwelling place of spirit, our experience is very different to the ego-driven way of living. We slow down and accomplish that which is meaningful. We feel connected to all that is, so we are inspired to do what we can to help according to our tendencies and talents. We co-create rather than compete. We accomplish our aspirations because we are no longer in our heads, but practicing our spiritual path daily. Our practice resonates with our hearts, increasing our awareness, love, presence, patience, commitment, and peace. Our spiritual practices are our life raft when the oceans of life become wild, and our magic carpet when we feel stuck and need inspiration and freedom. Our practices increase our compassion for ourselves and others. When Shekinah is in your reading, you have both permission and encouragement from spirit to embrace spiritual practices that resonate with your heart and commit to them. Especially when you think you don't need them or they don't seem to be doing anything for you. Those are the times you need them most. To embrace Shekinah is to embrace action, to commit, to engage, to walk our talk, and to be the light we want to see in our world. The ideas that nurture and inspire your heart are important, but the actions that transform hesitation, fear, and doubt into boldness, trust, and confidence are essential to bring those ideas to life. You have it within you to live your light and to put all your problems and concerns into the capable hands of a deeper guiding wisdom. You are not giving away your power in doing so. You are actually empowering your sacred fulfillment. This oracle brings notice of an opportunity to apply your spiritual principles. You are encouraged to consider how you can live so that your inner beliefs and outer actions are in alignment. This is not about denying the ego and its pains. It is about having compassion and responding from a place of kindness and determination to heal. This oracle also suggests a matter of material or physical concern can be touched and healed by spirit. Your task is to invite spirit in and allow it to do what it knows how to do. Find relief in the knowledge that spirit is with you and wants you to heal through all matters of concern. In the healing process, connect consciously with your heart, and if you feel led, put your hand on your heart right now, allowing yourself to become fully present in this moment. Notice the flow of your breath in and out. This will support the process of transition into sacred inner heart space. Say aloud, if you feel led, after me, I call upon Shekinah, sacred feminine presence of the divine spirit within my heart and within all hearts. Awaken, divine sister. We need you. To you, I surrender all concerns in need of a higher resolution. I trust that the healing capabilities of spirit are far greater than the depressing scenarios generated by fearful, wounded ego. I invite your sacred presence, protection, grace, blessing, and peace to restore me to my authentic path, to correct all issues in my life that have become tainted or confused by ego, and ensure my soul's spiritual fulfillment for the benefit of all beings. Thank you for your love and presence always. Imagine, see, feel, or intend that a beautiful white light is awakening in your heart and radiating throughout all parts of you, shining like a white spiritual sun. It may shine all the colors of the rainbow from your heart or remain as white light. The beautiful rays of light reach through all levels and dimensions of existence. Simply let this happen as you surrender into the effects of your prayer and your practice. Rest in this luminous offering for as long as feels right for you. Finish with your hands in prayer and your head bowed with respect for life. You have finished your healing process. And that is the end of that entry in the White Light Oracle book by Alana Fairchild. Again, such divine timing that oracle card is the one that presented itself. This episode is supported by Rise Superfood Mushroom Coffee. Loaded with adaptogenic mushrooms, Rise Coffee Blend delivers calmer energy, sharper focus, and immune support for a balanced body and clear mind. The taste is smooth, creamy, and earthy, all with less than half the caffeine of normal coffee, so you don't get the jitters or that inevitable post-caffeine high crash. It has cordyceps for stamina and increased oxygenation, lion's mane for focus, concentration, and neuron growth, reishi for stress and restful sleep, turkey tail for gut health, chronic fatigue, and cancer-fighting properties, shiitake for immunity and bone density, king trumpet for inflammation, antioxidants, and heart attack and stroke-fighting properties. Yes, yes, yes. I have been drinking this coffee personally now for months. I mix it into my regular coffee for a superfood boost, and then I add my collagen powder and a little creamer, or I drink it on its own for a little bit of extra energy when I need it. This is what I call a conscious company and one that genuinely cares about its customers. Head on over to risesuperfoods.com. That's spelled RYZESUPERFOODS.com to grab a bag now and enter code Jaclyn, Jaclyn, at checkout for 15% off. Now back to the episode. Okay, now I want to get into some tactical ways we can create space and lay the groundwork. You guys know I love examples. You know I love the woo-woo. You know I love the spiritual, but I also love the practical. And so here is what I want to say about laying the groundwork for your intention setting. As we enter into this next part of the episode, it's so important that we are not rushed or overwhelmed. I cannot tell you how many times I've blocked out time to do intention setting, but my head just isn't in the right space for it, right? We have to be present to do this life-affirming work effectively. So these are a few really, really important things I've noticed in my life that make a big difference in creating usable space for intention setting. We can have the best of intentions, guys, and put it on our calendar and block it out. But if we are not in the right headspace, it's not going to be the same. So here they are. There are 6 things that I want to address. The first is rest. This work can only be done when I'm well rested. When I am tired or overwhelmed or anxious, trying to set an intention feels like trying to see clearly through mud. Rest is a necessary prerequisite for me to set intentions. The second thing is time. I don't know about you, but I have a really difficult time trying to set up what I want my next year to look like in 1 hour or even 1 day. I need to write things out, feel them out, marinate on them, and see what really resonates. This happens for me over a period of days or even maybe a couple of weeks, just working on it on and off. Take your time. Setting soul-aligned intentions shouldn't feel like a rush. Your soul doesn't even consider time because time doesn't matter. So take the space that you need and don't rush it. Number 3 is space. Your space matters, and I'm talking about your physical space. Consider doing this sacred work in an area of your home, or at a coffee shop, or at your favorite spot in nature. This is inspired work, and if you're trying to do it in a dark hole or a cluttered area, it's really hard to do. So lighten your load and physically put yourself in a space that makes you feel tranquil, that you can think clearly in. For me, some days I want to be cozy on my couch with a cup of tea, my journal. Some days I want to be at my dining table with plenty of room for books and oracle cards and magazines and journals and my planner. And some days I want to be in my light-filled office with my blackboard and a wild honey nectar candle lit and a giant water bottle full of electrolytes. So tune in, breathe. What kind of surroundings does your soul need today as you tune in to its needs? Number 4, self-care. Friends, my gosh, being pregnant has taught me the importance of self-care on a whole new level because my body needs so much attention right now. What does your body and spirit need today? Ask yourself this beautiful question. Nourish your body and your soul. Before I sat down to write this podcast episode, I meditated and made myself a nourishing breakfast, and then I took the time to wash and steam my face and put on some Golden Secrets oil, which is this really luxurious oil, and then I gua sha'd my face. I stood in front of the mirror and I massaged with this gua sha tool, thinking about what I wanted to say to you about creating space for intention setting. In music, we say that the space between the notes is just as important as the notes. It's the same in life. And right now, in intention setting, it's the space between your productivity that is so vital. We have to create space to tune in. We cannot create from an empty tank. We cannot set intentions from a place of burnout. Grace, grace, and more grace. Let it wash over you before you put any kind of pen to paper to write your sacred intentions. Number 5, co-creation. The oracle card that presented itself today, again, is so perfect for this episode. You don't need to put the pressure of writing the perfect intentions on yourself. You can co-create with spirit. You can ask your soul what it needs. I did a whole episode on co-creation this year, episode 69. So ask, sweet soul, what do you need? What do you want to experience in the next year? How do you want to feel? What are you craving? What do you want less of, more of? This is so yummy, my friends, and your soul will rejoice in this attention and focus. If you have any trouble with this practice or connecting with your soul, the Akashic Records are a fantastic resource. I'm doing an episode on that before the end of the year. They hold so much wisdom and knowledge about your soul and your path and your past lives and what you are here now to experience. And spending time in the Akashic Records has been such a sacred practice for me. And if you're curious about this or want to spend some time in this area, I do Akashic readings. If that interests you, you can sign up in the show notes. I'll leave it at that. Number 6 in creating space for your intention setting is supplies. And I love this one because I'm such an office supply nerd. And you do you, but for me, beauty is such an essential part of my everyday life. And I'm not talking about just appearance. I'm talking about my surroundings and what I create. I want, for my intention setting, crisp, white poster board. I want colorful magazines with beautiful images. I want highlighters and markers. And I want a glass of vino, which I can't have right now, but some kind of fun celebratory drink. And I want my soul intentions to be as beautiful on paper as they are in my spirit. I want to see them out and proud every day next year and revel in them. There have been so many years where I write goals and intentions and then tuck them in a notebook or a planner and forget about them. So what use is that? I'm worth more than that. And you are worth more than that. This year, I have all the supplies. And these intentions that I am setting for 2022 are going to be so beautiful that I can't not put them on my wall. So those are the things that I think are so important when it comes to creating space. I'm going to go over them again. 1, rest. 2, time. 3, space, your surroundings. 4, self-care. 5, co-creation. 6, supplies. I believe that if you take these things seriously, you will set yourself up for success both this year and beyond. And not just monetary success or professional success, but soul success. Being who you came here to be and embodying that in every way, shape, or form. Your intentions are yours alone. They don't need to impress anyone but you. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. So take the pressure off. Allow some space for creation. Tune out the noise and pressure of the world and tune into your soul's voice and vibration. It feels so good. What is it you want this next year? Beautiful listener, you can have it. And now is the time for laying that precious and nutrient-dense groundwork.